If you'd like to make your NFL games a little more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast, presented, of course, as always, by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years, classic journeyman. Yes, we are recording this on Final Cut Day, which represents both a top 5 best day of my life and definitely a top 10 worst day of my life. Cannot wait to dive into the season win totals with my guy, Steve Fezzik, the star of this show, whom you should all follow on social media at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. And Steve, this is a big day because next week, you and I will go over all of our week 1 bets. This week, we go over all of our official season win total bets as of today, which I am sure, Steve, you're going to explain with the caveat that most of your season win total bets you already got in when the getting in was good and the numbers were better, and you may or may not have a ton of bets today.
Yeah, and anyone who's following me on Twitter at Fezzik Sports knows my number one hated question is when a host asks the guest, so tell me some of the bets you made on the upcoming football season. And then just like dominoes, clickety-clack, they magically knew every single bet that moved. Oh, I've got Saints over 7.5, and I got Tampa under 11.5. Just shut up. You know, we're only going to discuss bets versus the current numbers. No past posts. No, I bet the Eagles plus 160 to win the division. Yeah, sure you did. So show me the ticket. Thank you.
I love it, Steve. This is why you're the best. This is why this show's the best, quite frankly. 30 minutes or less, we will always give you every bet we make in the National Football League that week. And we'll even go over the week before, so you know whether we were awesome or we stunk up the joint, and we will keep ourselves honest. Most shows don't do that. We do. We think it's important to be transparent. Let's dive right into it, Steve, because there's obviously 32 teams to get to. There can be really easy, quick passes. If you have a lean, you have a lean. If you have a no play, it's a no play. I think it's interesting looking at DraftKings. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason. They got the Raiders first, then the Panthers. Is there a rhyme? I mean, I know that there's an order for games. Is there an order for season win totals or not really, Steve?
It's an opportunity for improvement for DraftKings. Some books put them by division. Some books put them alphabetical by city. Some by their nicknames. And DraftKings, I'm still trying to figure it out.
So there's not what do you call it? The distribution order or whatever it's called each week.
The rotation number.
Rotation. Yeah.
Yes.
Rotation number. Right. I couldn't think of the word. Okay. Raiders are at 8.5, Steve. The over is minus 130 on DraftKings.
Okay. Before we go into each team, we're going to go lightning fast. Very important. There's value on unders, not overs. The average total, well, there's 17 games, should be 8.5, right? Not true. There could be ties in the NFL. The average total should be about 8.44, but the average total books are dealing is 8.55. Sounds like a trivial difference. It's a little bit higher. It's a huge difference. It's essentially when you play overs, you're paying double the vig, Ross. If you're playing unders, you're paying no vig, is how it works out, such that all of my bets, almost all of them are going to be unders or I'm going to pass. In terms of the Raiders, I think the Raiders are overvalued. I think they got a hype being in Vegas. They won 4 overtime games. I'm just waiting it out. Right now, I lean under 8.5. I think I'm going to get a 9 before the season kicks off. At 9, I play under. Lean under 8.5.
Yeah, I like the under. They won a lot of close games last year. They won more than their fair share of close games. Their offensive line's a mess. They're in a very good division, and I'm getting plus money, plus 110 on the under 8.5. I'll put 1 unit on the Raiders under 8.5. Carolina is at 6.5, minus 110 both ways, Steve.
Yeah, you tell me if McCaffrey's going to be able to stay healthy. I complete pass on Carolina, no play.
That number's right to me. I think they'll end up winning 6 or 7 games. That's a no play for me. The Eagles are at 9.5, Steve, but the over is now minus 155. Give me the math. What does that really mean? They're really at 9 point what?
They're at actually 9.9. So almost 10. So think about this. Dallas is also at right around 9.9. So the perception is the Eagles are every bit as good as Dallas, which I certainly agree with. I'll lean over. It got too expensive. Lean over on Eagles.
Yeah, I'm putting 2 units on the Philadelphia Eagles over 9.5. I would be surprised if they don't win 10 or 11 games. Now, they might not. But I guess you only care about the difference between 9.5 and 9.9 if it doesn't hit, right? I mean, then it's just the price you paid. It doesn't make a difference.
Well,
you can't get 9.75 wins.
I guess if you're saying you're risking $1,000, the problem with that nasty vig is that you're winning a whole lot less when you do win. When you're laying minus 155.
Yeah. Good point. Steelers are at 7.5, Steve. Not a big difference in the vig either way.
I was going to lean over on the Steelers. I really like, how their second round draft pick wide receivers developing, their strength at quarterback, but then the injuries start stacking in the preseason. So I'm neutral on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they're a pass for me as well. I'd probably still lean to the over, but their O-line still has issues. Doesn't sound like it's a serious injury, but I don't like TJ Watt, Deontay Johnson going into the year, even a little bit banged up. No thanks. What about the Lions at 6.5, Steve? The over is minus 125.
Yeah, so Hard Knocks Love is pushing this team too high. Bad quarterback, bad coach, bad organization. We're going to get a 7. We're holding out till I refuse to play under 6.5 when I know I'm going to get 7. So lean under 6.5, but when I hit 7 to next week, I'll play under.
So definitely seen some movement on this team. The Dallas Cowboys, they are now at 10. They were 10.5 for a long time, Steve. They're 10 now, plus 100 on the over, minus 120 on the under.
Not going to cry over bets that maybe I made during the summer already, but Dallas under 10 is a good bet. Dallas is not nearly as good as Philly. All of those, what was it? Diggs gotten 3 interceptions a game last year. They were so lucky last year to get 12 wins. They're not as good this year. They're going to miss Cooper. Offense will be worse. Injury stacking on the O-line. Dallas under, good bet, 2 units.
I'm going to be with you on that. I think I'm only going to put 1 unit on it. Their O-line has it. I mean, the Tyron Smith injury is significant. Sounds like they want to put this rookie, Tyler Smith, out there at left tackle. He had, I think, I got to check. I believe he had 16 penalties last year at Tulsa in Conference USA. 12 holding penalties last year, Steve. 12. Now he's going to play left tackle in the NFL for a whole year, and he's got a high ankle sprain right now, by the way. Good luck to you, Tyler. What movie is that? Like, good luck to you, sir.
Willy Wonka, he says, "Good day, sir. Good day."
Yes, good day, sir. Good
but it
luck
sounds like
to
we
you
have our
taking the
first
Cowboys.
best bet.
The best bet.
I like it. We're keeping Bry honest. You know what else I like right now, Steve? Always talking with you about Express Clothing. I love their fresh fall polos, their fall forward shades, fabrics, textures. I rocked one of the Express polos yesterday at the back to school picnic. What are you waiting for? Find your new fall favorites at Express online or in store. Love the fact that you can dress up or dress down with them. Absolutely clutch. What about the Saints at 8.5, Steve, minus 110 both ways.
Yeah, so why not? I'll give out an over. 2 units on the Saints over. I get it. It was lower during the year. Kamara looks like he's not going to get suspended. Winston, they were 5-2 with them last year. I think Saints can win the division. Saints can win 11 games. Over 8.5, 2 units.
I'm with you on this. I am surprised that this is still the number for the New Orleans Saints. You know, Trevor Penning, their first-round pick, got hurt. Guess what? He wasn't going to play anyway. He wasn't beating out Hurst, who's a fine left tackle. He's not good, but he's fine. And I'd be surprised they don't win 9 or 10 games. The Kamara news is huge, that it looks like they'll have him for the whole year. What about the Colts? Their over-under is 10, Steve.
Was that another best bet on Saints over?
Oh, yeah. Saints over 2 units. Best bet, Brian.
The best bet.
I love that you're keeping us honest, Steve, because I keep forgetting that. It's not Bry's fault. I need to give Bry like a small window to hit it in there. Thank you, Steve.
What's their next team, Russ?
Oh, the Colts. Over-under is 10.
I can't multitask clearly with everything going on. The Colts, that division is just so weak. I could only lean to the over because I don't like any of the other teams. So just a lean over.
I'm going to lean under. I can't believe Matt Pryor is their left tackle right now, which brings up a point, Steve. There's like minor trades going on right now. There's cuts happening. Are any of these a situation where you believe that any of these cuts, any of these moves make a difference in whether or not a team would be over under their win total? Like, does anything happen? I mean, it's rare, right? Unless it's like a starting quarterback. If the Colts get a better left tackle, if the Cowboy, like, is any of this stuff matters?
Well, San Francisco just upgraded their quarterback by 3 points, so that's pretty significant that, Jimmy G is, still on the roster. Aside from that, the only difference would be, and I got to pay more attention, punters and place kickers, we just don't pay much attention to. But if you lose one, that can be significant. So I still have to do my work on the special teams and the late cuts that are happening there.
Giants totals at 7, Steve. Minus 110 both ways.
I hate this New York Giant team. I had them my lowest rated, power rated team. And then there's always optimism in New York that they're going to be better. Giants had a really hard schedule last year, a really easy schedule this year. I'm supposed to play over. I can't do it, Ross. I'll lean under on the Giants.
I think 7's the right number. I really do. I would lean under. If anything, I think they're a 6 or 7 win team, showing some faith in Brian Daboll, who coached me when I was in New England. How about the Bucks? They're at 11.5, plus 115. So you're getting plus money if you hit the over, minus 135 on the under. I think you tipped your hand last week when you said you liked Alabama to win more games, Steve.
Yeah, this is a ridiculous line. This is the 3-star, 3-unit best bet. Bucks under 11.5 for obvious reasons. You're going to tell everybody, Ross, because I think you're going to agree. 3 units under.
I can't do it, man.
Really?
I lean under, but I don't know. His name's Tom Brady, Steve. Have you seen him? Are you familiar with him?
A little bit. I was in the Bahamas. I hung out with them at the Cove, and the cool adult pool there at Atlantis. Usually Brady is getting ready for the football season, but he was having a nice time, in Atlantis, and that's very un-TB like. And how do you beat Brady? You put him on his butt. Well, with the old line in shambles, that's exactly what's going to happen. The wheels could come off. Tampa could win. Bold prediction, Tampa wins 6 games this year. Under.
Steve, are you out of your mind?
Pretty much.
On what planet? Brady has only won less than double-digit games 1 year, his second year.
Well, the success there's such a long-standing success of 45-year-olds in the NFL at quarterback. I can see why you're optimistic.
How about 43-year-olds that win the Super Bowl and 44-year-olds that lead the league in passing yardage? Put that in your computer. No, I would probably lean to the under, but I'm not putting 3 units on it. That's for sure. Patriots are 8.5, minus 125 to the over, plus 105 on the under.
Nothing but negative news on the Patriots during preseason. I don't like their quarterback, but I don't bet against the genius. I pass.
They're an 8 or 9 win team. If anything, I would lean to the under for New England. They're an 8 or 9 win team. 8.5 is the right number. What about the Bengals at 10, Steve? It's minus 120 on the under.
Yeah, 10's too high. I'll go under for 2 units. Very difficult schedule. Super Bowl slump. Ruptured appendix for Burrow. Who knows, rusty and not at 100% to start the season. You add it all up. Division, very tough. I think Bengals win 9 games. They go under the 10. 2 units.
I'm gonna put 1 unit on the under 10. I think they probably go about 10-7 would be my guess. They upgraded on the O-line pretty significantly. But I'll say 1 unit on the under so we get another best bet.
The best bet.
The Minnesota Vikings, they are their total's 9.5, Steve.
All reports that Kirk Cousins and company are thrilled that Zimmer is out, and so the attitude will be better in the workplace. It's reflected in the number. 9.5's very high. I thought 9 was right. I'll lean under 9.5.
9.5's, you're right. I'm gonna lean under as well. I think they're an 8, 9, 10 win team, but they're not an 11 win team. And I think 8's a lot more likely than 10 is. So I'm gonna lean under. How about the Bills at 11.5, minus 140 for the over 11.5? Wow.
Bills are clearly the best team in the NFL. 11.5 is not that high of a total for the best team. I'll lean over the total.
Wow. Interesting. They have a tendency to lose games they shouldn't lose. Like they dunked off a couple games last year that really hurt them. They need to realize that's the difference between them getting home field advantage throughout or not, which is they would have won that game last year if they were at home. Probably would have won the last couple of years if they were at home. I'm going.
Well, they would have won if they would have just kicked the ball off to the 2-yard line instead of kicking it out of the end zone. Which every single pro gambler I know, everyone that's sharp said they should mortar kick to the 2. The game's over. Kick in the end zone. They're vulnerable, but no one listens to us.
Totally agree. I got nothing on the Bills. Cardinals are at 8.5. Even money, minus 110 both ways at 8.5, Steve.
Well, I've been studying the Cardinal playbook for the last 4 hours this week. I haven't been able to reach any conclusions. I pass.
If anything, I would lean under. I'm just not a fan and or a believer in the Cardinals this year. Their O-line has major issues. The whole Kyler thing that you just referenced is weird. Here's what I'm into right now. Symbol, Steve, the stock market for sports. Symbol lets you trade pro and college teams like stocks and even earn cash dividend payouts when your team wins. PFF calls Symbol the perfect blend of sports and the stock market, offering a brand new way to invest in your favorite teams and profit off their success. I'm telling you right now, I want to short the Cardinals on Symbol. Not a big fan of the Arizona Cardinals long term. Something's not right there. When you sign a contract, the guy signed that.
You can count on the Cardinals to start the season well. That's what Kingsbury does. Plays Kansas, he gets the win. But the problem is that without Hopkins, I don't think the Cards are going to start well this year.
Download the Symbol mobile app for iOS by searching SIMBULL in the App Store. Use promo code MONEY to receive a free team stock valued up to $150 upon signing up. That's code MONEY to claim your free stock on the Symbol mobile app. What about the Commanders? Their number is 8 now. I thought it was 7.5. They're 8.
Been going back and
Commanders
forth between 7.5 and 8. You know what? Losing organization. If you did nothing else but play the Washington football team under the last 20 years, they have underachieved by the tune of about 1 win per year. So here's a team that's just constantly been under or overvalued. A big part of it is, no home field. The Eagles play them. It's a home game for the Eagles. I'll lean under the game.
I'm going to lean under as well. Yeah, I think 8's probably – I don't see him getting 9 wins. I think 6, 7, 8's more likely. So I would lean the under for sure. The Jags are at 6.5, Steve.
So here's a team that I completely disagree with the market. The market is saying that the Jags are going to be greatly improved, that Urban Meyer train wrecked the team, and they've got all this talent, and the market likes over. I think the Jags are a paycheck city that free agents go to that aren't interested in winning but interested in the money. I see the organization is completely bereft of any competence. So I lean under. I'm going to pass.
6.5 seems about right to me. If anything, I would lean under there. What about the Chicago Bears? Their total is 6, and the over is plus 100.
So I still would have recommended an under if you would have asked me last week, even though the Bears total's free falling and we're getting to it late. But Fields actually looked really good, I thought, in his last game. I'm just going to strongly lean under the 6.
I think that's fair. I'm a strong lean under as well. They might win 6 games. 6-11. I mean, come on. What about the Broncos, Steve? Their number's 10.
Yeah, it's interesting. 10. How does Denver get to 10? Their strength of schedule. They got the 3rd most difficult schedule. If Wilson plays like he played 5 years ago, they'll win 10 games. This is a leap of faith that he's still a top 5 quarterback. If he's not, the Broncos are just an average team. If he is, they'll win 10. So it's a free roll. I like under 10, 2 units.
Wow. Okay. I got nothing there. I think 10 is about the right number. I don't even really have a lean. I'm not going to lean to the over. 11 sounds like a lot in that division and with that schedule. So I think that's good. What about the Jets? Wow, the Jets are at 5.5, Steve. Minus 155 on the over.
Yeah, so Jets just end the season. A lot of optimism after the draft. In fact, I played the Jets over 5.5. And when I played that over 5.5 for us, I said, we're going to play the Jets over and figure out what to do with it later. Well, I can tell you what we're going to do with it. We're going to scalp the heck out of it, and we're going to dump it like a bad habit because everything's gone wrong. Becton gets hurt. The worst case scenario, Wilson gets injured, doesn't get any reps during practice. He'll be back, week 2, week 3. Joe Flacco, he is horrendous. He threw that pick 6 he threw. A high school quarterback gets benched for throwing that. Jets are going to win 4 games. Jets under 2 units.
Yeah, I got 1 unit on the under for the Jets as well. It's going to be a mess when they put Zach Wilson in. It's the best bet on the under.
The best bet.
Texans 4.5, Steve. That's a really low number the way Davis Mills played last year in that division. I kind of like the over for 2 units on the Texans. They'll win 5 games.
Good luck with that. I got a really sharp pro bettor, Jim, in Philly, of all things, Ross. And he says, Fez, you make this way too complicated. All you need to do is tell me, do you have a good quarterback and a good coach? You play over. You got a bad quarterback and a bad coach, you play under. Well, Davis Mills, maybe there's optimism that he cracks the top 25 in QBR, but certainly not the top 20. Bad quarterback, very bad coach. Under 2.5 is the only way I would look. We're going to go head-to-head. I'm going to go a unit on the under.
All right. What about the Chiefs? They're at 10.5, minus 120 for the over.
The schedule's just too darn difficult. Hardest schedule in the league. I still lean over. I'm not a personnel guy, But when I watch Chief games, is it me or do they have like the best draft ever? Karlaftis, the Purdue kid, seems to get a sack every play. Pacheco, the running back, looks great. So the eye test says this team's going to be even better with those additions. I lean over.
Leaning over as well. Dolphins are at 9, Steve.
I don't see it. I think the Dolphins are right in the middle of the league, NFL-wise. I don't like Tua. I will go under the 9 for 2 units.
I think 9's the right number. I'd probably lean under, but I'm not going to put any units on it. Packers at 11?
No opinion at all on the Packers. Number's right.
I would lean under for the Packers this year. I don't think Bakhtiari is going to play. The receiver issues, I'm leaning under. Ravens at 9.5, Steve.
Yep. So what's the vig on the over? It's got to be super high, right?
Minus 165. Sorry, yes, I should have pointed that out.
Yeah, no worries. I agree with all the optimism on Baltimore. My only concern is Lamar being distracted, with the contract negotiations, which he should defer to, others. But here's a team that was 8-3. All those injuries at running back, all that. The defense just got decimated. Baltimore's clearly the best team in the division. They're going to win 11 games. I like over. Yeah, it's expensive. 1 unit on the over.
1 unit on the over for me as well. I think the Ravens are winning 10 games or more. It's the best bet.
The best bet.
Titans are at 9, Steve. I at least lean to the under.
Yeah, I lean under as well. I just talked about, good coach, good quarterback. I want to look towards the over. Well, they certainly have a good coach, and I think they have an above average quarterback. It's at least an average quarterback. I'm still going to lean under. I think there's a lot not to like with the Titans and with the lack of playmakers, and Derrick Henry probably not going to be 100%. Lean under.
Rams, 10.5.
Looks a little high, doesn't it? With running backs banged up, quarterback elbow issue. Lean under the 10.5.
That number seems about right to me. The Chargers are at 10. The over's minus 140. Wow, Steve.
The Chargers it's like Fezzik on steroids, because I've always been a proponent to go for it. But, they've taken it to a new level. They don't go for it 4th and 2. They go for it like 4th and 5 from midfield and the like. A lot of volatility, I think, in the Charger locker room. How are they going to respond to this ultra-aggressive play calling if it goes south again on them this year? I'm going to pass.
I'm going to put 1 unit on the under for the Chargers, under 10. I'll believe it when I see it. You get plus 120 on the under. Falcons are at 5, Steve, with minus 145 on the under.
So if you would have asked me Falcons a month ago, I would have said best bet under, love the under. Not so much anymore. In fact, I'm leaning over. Marcus Mariota, he looks great. Now, I know he gets hurt every year, but if there was one quarterback, I mentioned I don't respond too much to preseason, but he has definitely won me over as well as he's played in preseason. I lean over.
I kind of agree with you. They're better than I thought they'd be. The Browns are at 8.5. We've talked a lot about them. Under 8.5 is minus 155.
Yeah, I like under for 2 units. I'm going to tell you why the Browns under is a slam dunk great bet. So week 1, Cleveland is playing Carolina. Ross, you and I agree. Carolina's a 6.5 win team. Way below average team. Mediocrity there. Carolina's laying 2. That's saying, if you give 2 for home field, that Carolina and Cleveland for 11 games this year, that Cleveland's going to play at a Carolina Panther level. Well, if that's the case, how in the world are they going to get to 9 wins when Watson comes back week 12 and there's the continuity issue, etc.? Cleveland under 8.5, 2 units.
I agree. I'm under. I'm under on the Cleveland Browns as well. For all the reasons you just mentioned. Best bet.
The best bet.
What about Seahawks, Steve? Seahawks are 5.5.
Tiny lean over, nothing on Seattle.
Agreed. Niners at 10 with Jimmy G staying?
If Jimmy G had left, I would have 3-united it under. Now I'm going to pass because Jimmy G is 3 points better than Trey Lance. And Trey Lance busts and they start 2-3. They might still get to 10 wins. The rest of the squad is phenomenal.
Fair point, Steve. That was awesome. That's how we do it here on the Even Money Podcast. I'm with Steve. I'm going to lean to the under on the 49ers, but it depends on how long they would keep Trey Lance out there. Make sure you listen and or watch on YouTube every single week. He's at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL on social. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for listening to the Even Money Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, the Fantasy Feast, Business of Sports, and the College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.